everyone, and welcome to this episode of Chrysalis on the Couch. I'm Joanna, and I'm really pleased to say that I'm joined today by Gemma, Linsey, and Lily, and I'll give them a chance to introduce themselves in just a sec. In this episode today, we're going to be talking about first times. So, what's it like to do something for the first time? How does that feel? Is it scary? Is it exciting? Can we remember the first time we did something significant in our lives? We'll be having a really good chat about that and be interested in your thoughts as well if you've got anything you want to share in the comments. If you do enjoy the video, remember to like and subscribe to the Chrysalis on the Couch channel, and you'll see loads more content and lots of Chrysalis staff, students and tutors discussing all kinds of topics. But for today, we're going to be talking about first times. So quite a rich topic and hopefully some fun chat to be had. So let's introduce ourselves and get to know each other a little bit better. My name is Joanna Williams. As I say, I'm a year one tutor for Chrysalis. So I teach first year hypnotherapy and counselling skills. And I'm going to go around the way that you are on my screen. So if I come to you first, Gemma, can you say a bit about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, I'm Gemma. I am student team leader based at Chrysalis head office and Bridgewater. So I look after the student teams, the student support liaisons, and Lily.
Brilliant, thank you. Oh, well, let's skip right forward to Lily then. From there, Lily, tell us what it's like being looked after by Gemma and, and a little bit about yourself as well.
Obviously, she is great. But yeah, I'm Lily. As you may guess, I'm not English. I am Italian, and I work in Chrysalis since April. And I just take care of bookings and results. So this is it.
So really important at the beginning and end of a student's journey with Chrysalis. Amazing. Thanks for joining us, Lily. It's nice to meet you. It's the first time we've seen each other, I think.
Yeah, we are sharing some email again, I believe, but never seen in person. Yeah.
No, it's nice to see people's faces, isn't it? And Linsey, can you tell us a bit about you, please?
Hi, everyone. So I'm Linsey. I'm a brand new student. I've just enrolled with Chrysalis, year one hypnotherapy and introduction to counselling skills with the Glasgow cohort. So I'm bringing in the Scottish contingent. So I'm very excited to be starting on my counselling journey. Absolutely.
Fantastic, brilliant. Welcome and thanks so much for joining us today. It's absolutely perfect because we're going to be talking about beginnings and first times. And yeah, I suppose what led me to think about wanting to host this episode on this topic was at the time of recording this, we're kind of in autumn, and I think around about September time I started thinking about there was that back to school feeling, isn't there? There's that people may be starting new ventures, like you, Linsey, starting a new course. In Chrysalis, we have an autumn and a spring intake, so there's always somebody kind of joining us for the first time. We were going back into the classroom for the first time after periods of lockdown, so I was thinking about that as well. And just personally, like, there's often first times that go on in people's lives, isn't there? And it brings up all sorts of feelings. So I thought it'd be quite interesting to chat about and see what comes out, really. So if it's all right, Linsey, I'm going to come straight back to you, if that's okay.
Sure.
To just tell us about, you're going to be starting your course in a few weeks' time, and it's going to be the first class over in Glasgow. I'm going to dive right in. How are you feeling about it?
Understandably nervous, but I'm actually excited, more than nervous. And it's interesting you're talking about first times, because I'm also thinking about right times. So this is the right time for me. I actually had my first interview with Chrysalis probably about 4 years ago. In fact, it might even have been 5 years ago. But at that time, I was still caring for my mum. Other things were going on in my life. And as much as I wanted to do the course, it just didn't feel like the right time.
Yeah.
So in between times, I've also done my NLP practitioner's qualification. I've done my COSCA skills counselling course. And part of me, I think, has been putting off doing, the serious big course, becoming a counsellor, 3 years to really embed my learnings and my skills. So this time interview, it's the right time. So I think that's why I'm probably more excited than nervous, because it just feels it just feels right for me.
Yeah, brilliant. That's a really good point. And I hear that such a lot from students.
Yeah.
On the first, because being a first year student, obviously I get people at the start of that journey, like yourself, and they'll say, as we go in the room and we all sort of introduce ourselves, and quite often they'll say, I had the brochure before, or I was interviewed before, or, you know, I've been sitting on this for a couple of years and it's not been quite the right time. So that's a really good point, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is that something you recognise, Gemma, from speaking to first year students today? Does that come up?
Yeah, we do have that quite a lot. Or we also have students that unfortunately obviously do start on the course and then realise it's not the right time, and then come back again further down the line, and then start their studies with us. So yeah, it does happen quite often in that way. Yeah,
and sometimes you don't actually know really until you start something, do you? And then it feels it's right or wrong. That's so true. And I love that I have a word called nerve-cited to describe that feeling where you're nervous and excited. Obviously, it's not a real word, but it should be. So I'd say I'm nerve-cited about that. I'm a bit of both.
I'm going to make that.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's true. And it's that feeling, isn't it? Which am I more of? Am I more nervous or more excited? And as you say, Linsey, it's probably a good sign that you're thinking, oh, I think I'm more excited. That's good.
Absolutely. Yeah. Keen to learn.
Yeah, exactly. And that's it, isn't it? If you know you're going to gain something, and it's just really exciting to start that journey, isn't it? When it's something like that. What was it like for you, Lily, back in April, joining the Chrysalis team for the first time? What sort of led you here, and how did that feel?
Yeah, I mean, for me it was like a massive change because I come back from a really different background, really different previous experience, and about work, about totally different jobs. So it was like a really new beginning, literally, for me. And yeah, it was great because I will love, like, my first point was to come back in a office, in a nice environment, relax, like how it is. And yeah, like I was like absolutely excited, obviously, but at the same time I couldn't believe that it was happening. So
yeah,
it was like literally a flip in life.
It's been quite stressful, can't it, doing something so different and so new?
Yeah, it is, especially after the previous experience. Come back in office, I was like feeling like a fish outside the water.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, because it was like so different. So like having the desk, my computer, the sharing the room with another colleague, it was like so unusual, so unreal in a certain way. So
yeah. And did that take a while to get used to, do you think, or was it quicker than you anticipated?
I think it took me like a couple of months, especially because we were going out from the lockdown, so the office wasn't like full capacity. We were like just like a couple of hours in the office, sometimes not every day. So actually, I think I used to get to be in the office since August, about that time, when we were coming back, all of us, and we can like be friends, like have a nice environment because we know each other properly now. And everything has been like more natural.
Yeah, I think when you're doing something for the first time, if there's people around you that are either also in the same boat or they're in a position to support you because you know that they're kind of on your side and your friends, as you say, that really helps, doesn't it?
Yeah, it can happen as well that you met your colleague after 3 months, that actually you are sharing email with them, like, so sounds like a bit unusual, obviously, but yeah, about like July, August start to become normal.
Yeah, starts to become comfortable. Brilliant. Oh, good stuff. And Gemma, I'll come to you. When we talk about like first times, what springs up for you as maybe recent examples of doing something for the first time?
First times. Recently, I don't know. What springs to mind is obviously having a baby, first time mum. But obviously that's not recent.
Tell us about that though, because that's pretty much probably the biggest thing that's ever happened.
Yeah. So I mean, this for me was 8.5 years ago now. But yeah, first time being a mum, being unsure what you're doing, everybody giving you their opinion of how you should do things and what's right and what's wrong. And then obviously the midwives telling you something different and not knowing who to believe and who to trust. And so it is mother's instinct at the end of the day, and just go with your gut of what you feel is right, I think, on that side of things. But yeah, first time, that would be the biggest thing, I think, that comes to my mind, being a mum for the first time and going through that.
Yeah, and like say, having to combat in a way other people's, all those conflicting views. So you've got 2 children, right?
Yes.
So tell me about the difference between the first time and the second time. I know obviously each child is different, but what was your experience like doing it twice?
Second time, a lot more relaxed in a way. Second one was born during the first lockdown. So very different experience from that point of view. But very more assured of what I'm doing and confident in what I'm doing. And obviously second time round didn't have the visitors and the people popping around and the support in the normal way you would when you have a baby, because obviously it wasn't allowed. But first time round, I have my mum, I've got my in-laws, I've got all my friends, they were all coming around and supporting and that type of thing. So yeah, very different experiences just because of the pandemic, really, and how that affected it.
Yeah, of course. But it's really interesting that you had that extra confidence that, I've done this before. I do know a little bit more, I feel a bit more confident in my own ways of doing things. But in a way, it was new to you as well because of the situation.
That's right, yeah.
It was so different. Gosh. And when we are like nervous about something new as well, when we're doing something for the first time, we feel a bit nervous or anxious or not sure, or there's conflicting advice. What do we do? What are and really interesting, what are the techniques people use to kind of cope with that? I don't know if any of you, I'll throw it open if anyone's got any thoughts on how do I cope with that if I feel a bit uncertain doing something for the first time.
I can answer first if you like, Jo.
Go for it.
So I would say years ago, I probably would have gone into panic and got quite stressed and not understood how I was feeling about it.
Yeah.
But through different years and different experiences, I guess, you learn. And I do a lot of meditation, and that calms me. And I know when I haven't been meditating, because I immediately maybe go into a different kind of thought spiral or way of thinking. So meditation keeps me, I use the word grounded. That's something I very much believe in, is being grounded. And that helps me stay calm and see things maybe more clearly rather than in a heightened state. And it's, for me, it's about self-awareness and understanding how I react to things and what's right for me to use to be able to, my coping strategies that's right for myself. And we all have different coping strategies, don't we? But it's recognizing, I guess, what stresses you and the way you're behaving because of it. But that's taken time. That's taken time to understand and then managing it. But it's a conscious management rather than an unconscious management.
Yeah, it's noticing those signs in yourself, as you say, and going, okay, stop, I need to do something, I need to take some conscious action because I'm feeling stressed or anxious. And knowing why that is. Yeah.
And I kind of really understood what Gemma was saying, because when I was a first mum, I only have one daughter, but I remember at the time the midwives and the nurses really pushing to me to manage to breastfeed or to manage to get my daughter to go to sleep. But I was so stressed that she picked up my stress. She wouldn't go to sleep and she wouldn't breastfeed. And I think it was about 4 days in, I suddenly thought, hang on a minute, why am I listening to all this? Because actually she wants to hear from me that I'm relaxed and she'll relax. So I totally understand, Gemma, when you said that. It was that piece of, I do know what I'm doing with this because it's how I'm feeling and therefore what I'm passing on to the child. So yeah, very much managing those stress symptoms, I suppose, which again is why I feel the course I'm at the right time, because I'm more excited than nervous, although I'm nervous enough that I want to really open to learning, because of the learned experiences over the last few years, and understanding how I feel about it. Saying that, it'll probably be a shaking rate come the morning of the course.
On the day, you might feel differently. Yeah, might get a bit.
On the day, I might be a nervous wreck, absolutely.
You won't be on your own though, because I think everyone feels like that a little bit. And actually, and you know, because I think you've done training and things before, the tutor will be feeling it as well.
Yeah,
and that's the great secret that we're revealing in this Chrysalis on the Couch, is that the first time your tutor stands in front of you, they probably feel quite nervous as well. I felt quite nervous being the first time back in the classroom after lockdown. Got so used to doing things on Zoom and everything. And I had a very large class. Some of them might be watching this, so this might be a bit embarrassing, but they know because they were there. I had a large class who we'd only ever met on Zoom. It was one thing taking an existing class and moving the work onto Zoom, but actually starting on Zoom and trying to get to know people in a large class, 24 students, I think, 24 students, and then to meet in person. I found that quite nerve-wracking. I felt quite anxious about it before. I mean, it was fine. It settled down very quickly. It was like, oh yeah, hi, yeah. We do all recognise each other. We do look the same, roughly. That's how we look. But you know, when you're used to just seeing these little boxes on the screen, because when it's a big class, they're quite little, and you've got everyone's names there, and it's quite, you know, it's a lot easier in lots of ways. So I was quite nervous, and I sort of shared that with the class and said, yeah, do you know what? I'm quite worried that this feels different, putting aside all of the, you know, COVID measures and stuff. Even without that, I was like, oh, this feels new. It feels different. I've stood up in front of a class many times before, but it still feels nervous because it's a bit different. But yeah, and then thankfully one of the students said, shall we go around and everybody say everybody's names just in case? And I thought, phew, that's really helpful, because I'm pretty sure I've got you all, but just in case. So they won't mind me saying that, because I did fess up. I was like, well, some of you look a bit similar, and on the screen, you know, it's a bit, you start to doubt yourself, don't you, when things are new.
How did you feel at the end of the day, Jo?
After the
first time of doing that, how did you feel at the end of the day?
So relieved that it was done, but great, actually, really good and really energized, actually. I used to find a day of like being on your feet teaching quite tiring, and it is tiring, but I think compared to a day on Zoom, like 7 hours on Zoom, which really drained, which surprised me, I found that more tiring. So being in the room, I think we all left with a lot more energy, and that was lovely. So it felt really good. And yeah, it was weird. It was interesting to observe in myself that I was like, oh, gosh, I've got some nerves around this. It feels brand new again. So yeah, it's good what we use to overcome that, though, isn't it? I try and do a bit of grounding as well. I do the old anchoring and all that stuff, and taking a breath and taking yourself back to that, you know, that confident place or whatever it might be, or that relaxed place. It's not always easy, is it?
Yeah.
What about you, Lily? Do you have any techniques to kind of?
Yeah, I mean, like I personally try always to self-motivate myself. I mean, like, for example, obviously I've had like a lot of first time, and I always, when I have to front this first time, whichever it is, I always think about like, okay, I'm not the first one doing it. Someone in the world have done it before. So if someone else before me has done it, why I cannot do it as well? So I go straight like a train, and let's see what is going on.
Good on you. I love that approach, Lily. That's brilliant. And it makes me think about childbirth again, funnily enough. We've all said to ourselves, well, many millions of women have done this before, so probably I can do it too. So
in a way or another, it's going to be done. This is the point.
Exactly. At this point, it's too late to change it. So
it's a great attitude. I love it.
Thank you.
Go for it. That's such a good point, though, isn't it? Most things that you do for the first time, somebody's done it before and it's been all right. So yeah.
So I always think like if someone else did it, I always try to feel myself enough to say like, yes, I can do it as well.
Good for you. I love it. Love it. Gemma's recognizing this from you in the workplace. She's exactly what Lily's like. She goes at it like a train. Fantastic. Hey, these are the people I'd want on my team as well. Brilliant attitude. Gemma, what happens for you? What do you do? Do you have any tips for like calming those first time nerves?
I don't, that sounds awful. I don't really get nervous very often, to be honest. I tried, probably because I try not to think too much about things, like the whole childbirth thing. You know, people like, well, you weren't, like, I'm trying not to think about it because, like Lily says, it's got to happen. I've got to get through it and it'll be fine, kind of thing. So I try not to get myself worked up about things, but I know that obviously sometimes, you know, that can't be like, you know, it can't be avoided. And I generally try to take a step back really and like, why am I feeling this way? You know, is there a reason? Probably not, probably just myself. And it's never as bad as it seems when you actually get around to doing things anyway. You just build things up sometimes into a big thing and get yourself worked up for no reason. So just trying to take a step back really and, you know, assess the situation as such, and then go from there. But I'm not very anxious kind of person, unfortunately.
Great though, isn't it? To not naturally be like that, but to have a word with yourself, as you say, and a bit like Linsey said as well, to be like, okay, what is happening here? Why am I feeling this? And trying to just examine it a bit. I quite often, when I have clients who are anxious, I quite often get them to tell me, I always get them to tell me what's the physical feeling of nerves or anxiety or worry. What does it feel like in their body? And then I ask them to tell me what it feels like when they're excited. And quite often it's very similar. And it might be butterflies, it might be a bit of tension, it might be heart racing, whatever it is. So it's almost like that reframing, isn't it? Of like, okay, so am I nervous and worried, or am I excited? Is it a bit of both? Can I sort of live with that? Once I've stepped back, like you say, and not overthinking it. It's a good strategy, isn't it? And as Lily said, just do it, just get on with it and try not to overthink. It's because life is full of first times, isn't it? And so it's really, that's the whole point, isn't it? Doing new, exciting, interesting things. Has anybody got any? I'd really like to hear. This is a bit of I haven't warned anyone I'm going to ask this question. Should be worried now, shouldn't you? Because it just occurred to me, is there anything, this is really broad, that you would like to do, anything at all in life that you've never done before, that you would like to do for the first time? I'm going to come straight back to you, Gemma.
Oh gosh.
What have you not done that you'd like to do?
I don't know.
What do you think? I've done everything. I'm cool.
No, but there's nothing I'm thinking, oh, I wish I could do that. I don't know. Like when going back a few years, it was like, I would love to jump out of a plane. But I've done that.
Have you actually? Oh my goodness, you're so brave. Right, tell us immediately about that. How was that?
That was a bit nerve-wracking. I did it with a friend. Obviously it was a tandem, so I obviously had the security of someone strapped to the back of me. But that I did that for charity. So that was the motivation there, was to obviously raise money for, I think it was breast cancer at the time. Okay. So, you know, that was one of those things when I was younger, I was like, I would love to jump out of a plane. And obviously I've done that. But, you know, I'm trying to think of what else. I mean, there's lots of places in the world I would like to go and see that I haven't, but hopefully that will come at some stage when we're allowed to travel again.
And we can go around, get around a little bit more. Yeah. Big old world, isn't it? Amazing. I'm so impressed. That's That sounds terrifying.
No, not so.
That's something when I was younger I would have wanted to do, and I feel like as I've got older I've got a bit more cautious, and now it just fills me with terror, unfortunately. But good on you. I really respect that. Linsey, is there anything on your wish list that you haven't done that you think I'm going to give that a go? You're about to embark on something new. Anything else?
No, absolutely. I'm trying to think. It's a good question, and I'm sitting here sort of pondering whilst listening to Gemma. I'm sure there's a few things. I don't think there's anything I'll share just now, though. No, I know. Yeah, I'm just now trying to think. So, what am I scared of doing that I would want to force, face up and go do it? I'd probably traveling. I'd love to get back or do more traveling. A train around Europe, go up and maybe go to Russia, Moscow. There's just, lots of things like that I would love to do, but I wouldn't say that I'm worried or scared about doing them. It's just maybe something I'd like to do. I'm now trying to ponder, is there something I would be worried about doing that I've put off? I wouldn't jump out of a plane, I have to tell you now, Jim, I'm really sorry. The thought of you talking about it made me feel sick and my legs go wobbly. So I'm not going to happen. No, and I don't really want to. So I'll stay on terra firma. That makes me very boring, but no, it's just not my thing. I even thought, would I want to bungee jump?
Oh no.
No. And I know people have been there before me. I think that's a brilliant, and I'm going to think of that now. But yeah, no, I don't think there's any burning desire, Jo, that I can think of. Apart, well, obviously, I'm starting my course, which has been a burning desire for quite a while. So that's probably
that's enough for now.
Yeah, I would think that's probably me. Yeah.
And if you wanted to raise money for charity, you can just sit in a bath of baked beans or something, or you don't have to be doing these crazy behaviours.
Whatever floats your boat, absolutely.
Apparently, people like to do that. I don't know why. Lily, how about you? Is there anything that you think, I want to try that for the first time? I haven't done it yet.
I mean, I've had quite a lot of experience. I try to live in different country. I try a different job. So I have had enough experience about this sort of stuff. Now I feel a bit more in a way that I want to be more settled. So would be nice, buy a house, get married with my partner, make family with my partner, like that one. Now it's more like a soft, let's say soft experience, but in another way than extreme.
They're still really, they're massive firsts though, aren't they, in terms of...
Yeah, a massive step, obviously, but I feel that now my life is moving through that path. So it is finished the moment to traveling, it's finished the moment to be crazy, just be settled. So another chapter, let's say.
Yeah, that's a really nice way to think about it as well, isn't it? Is every first time is another chapter that you just go through.
Yeah.
And that sounds every bit as exciting as all the other crazy things, as you said. I'm now trying to think, having asked it of myself, of you guys to ask it of myself, what do I want to do for the first time? I have there's loads of places, traveling, definitely. I think we're all feeling a bit of wanderlust, aren't we? Except maybe Lily, saying you might have had enough of that and you want to settle down a bit.
I believe traveling is always nice, for a holiday, but not constantly. The difference. I think it's makes sense. Just an holiday is always really appreciated in every time of your life, I believe. But traveling all the time, moving, go somewhere else, is another level of stress. It's not a really pleasure.
True. Time to put down roots. It's a bit more, a bit more settling. Agree. So I think there's places I'd like to go to. I want to go back to a lot of places I've already been, and then I think, but there's so many other places to go. So you get a bit torn. It's I should try something different, because actually doing things for the first time or going to new places, it does do positive things for your brain, doesn't it, as well? That's what they say in a way. It's really, really good for your brain health to try new things and to do like new activities and challenge yourself or go to new places. So I do need to do that. I always said I'd like to learn a musical instrument. I mean, obviously I played the recorder at school like everybody, and a little bit of clarinet as well. Love to learn the piano. So maybe that should be my thing. I probably never will, but I keep like saying maybe. Or learn a language. Actually, I'd like to learn Italian. So maybe I have to get Lily to teach
No problem,
me.
whenever you want.
Great. Because I'd like to learn a lot. I do speak a little bit of French and a little bit of Spanish. So I think learning a new language would be nice. And I fancy Italian. Would help with those holidays. So there's some place in Italy I've not yet been to. So that can be on my first times list as well. So I think I'm going to go away and make a little list of things that I want to try. Cool. Any other thoughts? This is a really nice chat today. Thanks, ladies. Anything else about doing something for the first time, or anybody got anything else coming up that's first time?
All right.
I don't know. I think what's pertinent for me, Jo, is first time's been coming out of lockdown and starting to go out and meet my work clients again.
Yeah.
And traveling again. Yeah. And that's like a first time, as if, you would have got on a plane before, you would have got on a train before, but it's different because there's so many different restrictions and regulations, and have I got a mask on, and trying to pack to go to London to a meeting. What do I need to pack? And I overpacked. It was so bizarre. Excuse me. So that was almost like the first time traveling again.
Yeah.
And the stress that caused. Excuse me, I'm going to cough.
It's okay. I think that's so true. Everything we're doing now we're not post-pandemic, are we, at the time of recording, but post those lockdowns, it feels like the first time in some ways. And with that, there's a bit of extra appreciation as well, though, isn't it? A bit of extra stress, especially with things like traveling, I think, but a bit of extra appreciation. So I really loved being able to like see my friends for the first time in however many months, and really valued that. Just going out for dinner, like what was that like, going out to a restaurant for the first time in months? Well, that was an amazing feeling, wasn't it?
Absolutely. So it took you back to those kind of almost learning again.
Yes.
How to socialize.
Definitely.
Yeah. I got into my comfort zone of being in what I now call my Harry Potter cupboard, which was been my office for 20 months because I've been in here working so intently.
Yeah.
And then I was exhausted. I asked, how did you feel as well at the end of your course, meeting all the students? After a day out sort of seeing clients and everything, I was exhausted because it was like a baby almost, learning everything or relearning everything again, but knowing it was to make sure I was respecting everybody else as well, and then not getting stressed, because I know there's a lot of stress in the world at the moment. An opinion of how others should behave. You haven't got your mask on. I've got my mask on. I'm stressed about that. So it was very interesting.
Yeah,
and still working my way through that, I have to say.
I think that's such a good point. Thank you for bringing it. We're navigating this whole new territory all the time, aren't we? And actually, the first time being back in the theatre was really lovely and very powerful. Just something around being in that like collective space with people you don't know as well. So there's going and meeting people, but being in that space with people who are all there for this kind of purpose to go out and enjoy something. And that feeling was really quite emotional, but really powerful. And you thought, gosh, I didn't appreciate things properly before.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I've done a couple theatre trips and a couple of gigs as well, where I've been standing, in close proximity. And it like initially it was like, not sure about this kind of thing, but soon it went away, and I was able to enjoy the music and what have you. But yeah, totally agree. Like it felt very strange initially going into the theatre, and like, like, should I be wearing a mask? Should I not? Like, what's the right thing to do? Whereas before you wouldn't think anything of it. So yeah, totally relate to that one.
Yeah, it's completely changed, isn't it? It is like almost a kind of rebirth and relearning, as you said, and doing things again for the first time.
think a lot of us won't understand, and it might come out, obviously it will come out in months to come, how lockdown has really affected us and affected us all differently. And we think, oh, we're coming out again, that's fine, and we're traveling around. Actually, it has affected us. We have changed the way we've been, and social anxieties, and yeah, it's interesting to watch and see, but I think it will take a few months more to really show what's going to come out of there.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I do too. Years even maybe.
Right.
I think it's going to deeply affect us, isn't it?
Definitely.
And yeah, I'm due to get on a train this weekend for a long journey, and again, that's different, isn't it? That's almost like doing it for the first time, because you're sort of like, oh gosh, yeah, masks and all the distancing and all the rest of it, just a very, very different experience. So yeah, we're relearning. No wonder we're so tired. All this, like you say, it's exhausting, isn't it? It's like, oh, I've got so much to think about now. I need to...
It's all those stimulants, so many stimulants stimulating, experiences in a different way.
Yeah, I think you're right, because actually while we've been just in our four walls, there hasn't been as many stimulants, have there? So suddenly it's like everything, it's kind of technicolor, isn't it, and coming at us, and it's like,
yeah,
this is
absolutely. Because I think being in the house, you have coping strategies you don't even know you're coping with. Because I would just like, okay, I get up and we get on with the day, and I go to work, and then I walk down to the kitchen for my coffee, and then I come back to work, and I walk down to the kitchen for my lunch, and I come back to work, and then I might go outside for a walk, so you get into like patterns. We talk patterns for hypnosis as well. So it's that kind of hypnotic pattern of coping with the day as well. And I thought absolutely fine, and I'm doing that for kind of 6 weeks, and my daughter was due to come home for a visit, my bubble, that she is 4 hours away in Aberdeen. Or like, is that okay as a bubble? It's one of those. And then she rang, she says, oh, I'm having to do a COVID test, I might not make it home. And I burst into floods of tears, and I thought I was okay. But that taking away of that human contact, that's how it affected. And I hadn't realized how much I was using my daily patterns to cope. So this is where I'm saying, I think, yeah, it's all first times. I think every day is first time at the minute. I really do, for everybody, because we're all doing something for the first time that we haven't done in maybe 2 years, which is past the habit forming period as well.
That's right.
So
yeah.
So
we're all
all I would say is be kind with yourselves, because every day is new.
Absolutely. Oh, thank you, Linsey. That's a really nice place to wrap up, actually. I think we've had some really nice thoughts today, and I think that be kind with yourself is really brilliant place to end. And every day's new, because actually it is, isn't it? Especially right now where we are having this conversation today, and to remember that. And actually anytime, every day's new, isn't it? We never know what life's going to throw at us, so just be gentle and recognize those signs in ourselves and take good care.
Sure.
Oh, well, thanks so much, you guys. I said I wouldn't keep you too long, so we'll wrap up there, I think. And lots to think about. So I hope everybody watching the recording has enjoyed it. And as I said before, if you like and subscribe to Chrysalis on the Couch, you'll be able to see lots more. So thanks so much to my guests today, to Gemma, Lily and Linsey. I've really enjoyed chatting with you, and appreciated all your thoughts and everything that you've shared. So I hope we'll talk again. And for now, bye for now, and bye everybody watching. Take care. Bye. Bye.